Hey there, strangers. It's time for another 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and I'm coming to you late. Yay! Again! No, actually, I was talking to a friend and lost track of time, so apologies on that. But apologies for being late, but I'm here. Better late than never, right? Okay, so we are going to be getting back into my game build of GGG. We're getting closer to being done with the spawn points. So I have a funny feeling that I'm going to be near a good spot where I can just kind of cap it all off and be done with that. So we'll see whether or not that pans out well enough. So then we'll need to see about actually putting assets in that can be manipulated by the game. Sorry, I'm looking on my Twitter and seeing everything that's been kind of going on in the world and what's happening with the United States, my current, my where I live. It's like I do a lot of face palming. There are times where I just kind of wish that I could snap my fingers and change things around here a little bit. Not much I can really do about it myself. Most that I can hope for is, my candidates try to do something. Let me get off Twitter and move to my stream here. So apologies on the delay. Let's not focus on the negative, let's focus on the positive, shall we? Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started here a little bit. Now, if I remember correctly from last week, we didn't really have to worry too much about the human spawn points anymore. We had figured out a way to we figured out a way to kind of use them properly. So we'll see what we can kind of do with that. Let's see. I got a lot of backlighting. That's better. Okay. Let's see. Everything's looking good over here. Things looking good over here. Let me make sure my Discord's still going okay. Yeah, still going okay. Okay, so once this loads in, then we'll check out the board, and we'll try to get then we'll look into working on the AI agents as soon as I make sure that the spawn points are okay. Well, I can't really confirm exactly on the spawn points, but I can at least do I can at least set a breakpoint and verify that each of them have been set. They're not null. So, and then go on through and fix all these errors, because 62 errors is quite a bit. So let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, now scroll on down to, let's highlight that, because I know that I was using that at the very end of the function here. Right, so just to kind of show this is gonna basically give the this will, grab a random value and then return that value here. Now, technically, I don't really need that, because I can do something along the lines of, say, this. But here's the thing. I'm not doing that just yet, because I may need to do something more here. So if I'm going to be doing something more within this particular function, then I may need the hex or the integer value a little bit more. I don't really know. I'm I'm keeping it that way for now until I'm absolutely certain I don't really need any more. If I don't need any more, then I'll switch it over to this. So, because this right here doesn't require a stored integer value. It's just one call and you're done kind of thing. So, why make an integer value when you can just kind of use it right where it needs to go. So, but again, I digress. Okay, so let's see. Let me verify that I have everything that I need here. Let's see. Let me reduce down the code here so you guys can kind of see it a little bit more. Okay, so we're verifying that the spawn points have not all been acquired, right? So the idea is that whenever I need to spawn another agent for the human side, I want to verify all the locations of said humans and the various tiles around the human base may become available. So hence the reason why I may need to call this multiple times. But if all the tiles around the human city tile have been found or have been opened up, they're already set for the human spawn locations, and therefore don't really need to worry about checking to see whether or not we're all set. So here we're checking to see all the locations around the human city to add into the spawn locations. So let's see what else we've got. Yeah, blah 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 blah. So if all the spots around the human city have resources around it, then we're going to basically select one at random, add it to the human spawn locations, and then remove that resource. So I think everything's good there. Now, to be honest, okay, still need to work on that, so that's good. Let's see, is there any other to-dos? No. Okay, so don't think I really need anything else here. Let's see. Okay, so I need to fix this. So, but I don't think I need to do anything else here. Yeah, this is just setting the points, so we can just kind of get rid of the rest of this. You know what? Actually, hold on. I might need some of this code later. Maybe. Kind of doubt it, but you never know. Better safe than sorry. Okay. So, let's come on down here now. Okay, so here we are on the get spawn points. Now, I've already kind of mentioned this, that the spawn points are going to be pretty much similar for no matter what enemy that I'm going to be dealing with. So this it's the reason why I'm keeping it fairly generic, because it's repeatable code. So we're bringing in the enemy tile so that we can look at its neighbors and verify that it's not an outer wall, and the two tiles that do have resources on them, you know, if one spot is available, then we select one of them, and we'll be good. So now this has a set this has a set pattern, meaning that it will always check around the neighbors in a very generic straight pattern, and that's okay. We don't necessarily need to worry too much about the exact location for the enemy situation. Now, it might give a slight more advantage, like, but it's not by much. Like, let's face it. So, here, let me try to describe this here a little bit more. Okay, we're at 1182. I'm gonna remember that. So let me bring up the example that I want to kind of talk about a little bit here. So I like to use this little grid system here for the most part. Okay, so say we have our enemy city, okay, and then we have the outer wall, right? Okay, so we have two potential spots, okay, and let's say, you know, the human city's right there, right? Now, if both of them are open, and let's say that we have, you know, like a wall here. Now, if the spawn point gets set there, closer to the human city, versus here, then the enemy has, you know, a slight more of an advantage getting closer to the human city and its spawn. So it has one less spot to travel to get to the human city. So the balance is shifted slightly based off of the different spawn locations. Now, if that becomes a huge problem later on, with balancing, then I'll need to come back at this point and try to randomize it a little bit. Okay. Now, if one spot has a resource there and the other spot doesn't, then there's no. I'm going to be choosing one over the other. Okay, I'm not going to remove a resource just for ensuring a particular enemy spawn point has been set. Okay, but if both of them have resources or both of them are empty, and balancing becomes an issue, then I'll need to randomize it a little bit more. Okay, but for the time being, the way I have it currently, it's at a set pattern, so that if we're looking at this, basically, it might potentially select this particular spot each and every single time, if of course it's open. Okay, if there's a resource there, then obviously it moves the other one. But the way it's currently set, it will always select at that one spot. Okay, and right now I'm okay with that. Okay, for now. Like I said, if balancing does become an issue later on, then I may need to come back to it. But again, it's I don't see I'm not sure if one's travel spot is going to be that huge of a balance, but we'll see. We'll see. It may be. Okay, so we're putting it into a do while because we're going to be checking all the neighbors around it. We need to check all the neighbors around it because, as I mentioned in previous videos, seeing that I'm using a triangle map, I don't know whether or not I'm going to have I don't know whether or not the spawn locations are going to be here, here, or there. Okay, it all depends on where the cities are. It could be if all three of the enemy nations are active and alive, then it's going to be then every single one of these is a possibility. Okay, so hence trying to keep it generic. So we grab the hex tile, try to get the value from the board grid, try to get the hex tile from it. Then we check to see whether or not it's an outer wall. If it's not an outer wall, then we check to see if there's no resource there. If there is no resource there, then I know that it is then I know that it's a potential spawn point. I save that value and I say, hey, spawn point has been found. Go ahead and stop the search, or at least that's the That's the intention. Now, if there is a resource at that particular tile, then I want to save it for now, because if I go through all the neighbors and I find out that the resource, the spawn point hasn't been found, then I know that both of those spots next to the enemy location has a resource next to it. So if that's the case, then I need to, I'm pulling the hex tile out of the out of the list that I have here, and I'm going to use that to return as a saved value to the to what city it's associated with, the ghost, ghouls, the ghouls, goblins, or ghosts, whatever enemy is there. Okay. But here's the thing. If right now I'm not really checking here whether or not the hex tile that I'm pulling as a neighbor is, this means nothing in comparison with this. Okay, so what I need to do is look inside the resource tile holder for this particular tile, check to see whether it's null. Now, if I get down here and I, basically pull, the one hex tile from this list, then I need to go ahead and nullify this particular spot. So there's no resource there, and I'm kind of doing that incorrectly. Actually, let me use the function that I already have. Okay. Okay, so next key in that row. So basically, I need something along these lines so that I can remove the resource tile holder from, or the value that I want to set as a spawn point from the resource tile holder. So that's what I'm I'm going to try to do here. And then I return this value back up to back up here, so the spawn location is set, so that I will be using that particular tile from, as we continue on with the game. So let's see what we can do here. So spawn with resource. Right, this is the one that I'm adding the two tiles in. So I want to put in the temp hex tile in there, because I'm not changing the I'm not pulling it directly from the resource tile holder. I'm just doing a kind of a comparison between the two. Now the temp file keeps on changing. Let's see. Let me try to refactor this a little bit here. So, to be honest, we don't really need this temp. We just need red value. So, now let's see. Modify this. Yeah, so we should be good there. Oh, but wait. This becomes a problem, because this will basically clobber that. So I've already previously learned that the it's when you're there's two different ways of passing data. Okay. And if one could be a soft copy, one could be a hard copy. Okay. I've learned that the C#, it doesn't really, you have to be really careful when you're passing objects through C#, because they will overwrite the memory location of the value that you're trying to pass. you you literally have to, if you have a memory location, put information contained within it, okay, and then try to stick that in the list, you literally have to make a new memory location available. Otherwise, if you're reusing the memory location, um, previously, it will overwrite. Okay. Um, so I had so many problems just trying to, um, because I was clearing out a list, going, hey, I saved all the data. I was clearing out the a dictionary because I was like, I don't really need this dictionary anymore. Well, I was clearing all the data that was saved inside there, and it was clearing out another dictionary that I had built, trying to use the data from that previous one. So so I'm pretty much doing the exact same thing there. So let me try to explain here. So because I am not creating a new hex tile down here each and every single time, I'm changing the value here, which will change the value within there. See, that's the problem. Okay. What I need to do is take this, move it down here, and now we're good because each one of these is their own unique hex tile. So and it will retain the value from the board grid. And if it is something that we want to keep, then we'll be able to return it. But is the scope good with this? I'm not sure. Something I'll have to look into more. But I mean, this entire function I need to get working anyway. So okay, so this portion works. That's all fine. So next tiles, that's fine. Next tile, send to remove. And if it finds it in there, then we can just pass it along. So logically, it's fine, but still need to fix it code-wise. So, for example, is this what I need in order to get the hex tile directly from the board grid? Not 100% sure, but let's verify this here a little bit. used it that much. Let me look at Krishka's grid and make sure that I'm pulling values out of that one properly. Well, I know that I'm pulling values from it properly. Now it's just a matter of okay. Yeah, see, here's the um, here's where the popped wall's coming out of the Kushkal's grid. So I need something similar to this for the for down below here. Not quite exactly like it, but so because I want to um, you know, I have the hex key there, so I want to um, get the hex tile from that. Okay, so here's a potential problem here. I'm creating a list of values, but I'm trying to match that up with the key, which doesn't really work all that much. I need to basically pull the value based off the hex key. Now, am I doing? I'm using get hex key to pull the hex key out. So I need to compare the two. Let's see. See this function. You know, I'm pulling the. I don't actually have a parameter value in there, so that's why it's having a problem. You know, this is just saying, hey, return the hex tile key for me. Okay. So there's no comparison between the two. Now, I did create an equals and the hex tile key, so I can verify that one equals another. But that might not it's not really the same here. Let's see. See, board grid here is just a dictionary. So it doesn't have a getXT function. What was that? What was the function necessary to get the value based off of the key? I used it before. Where did I use it? Okay, this is basically saying, hey, you got the key, that's great. Or you don't have the key, that's great. Pop it out. That's not exactly what I want. I want the value from it. Oh, wait, where was the code for that? I thought I used it before. No, that's not it either. I'm screwing up here. Let's see. So this isn't correct. And that's not exactly what I need either. Alright, time to look it up online. Okay. Dictionary. Find value by key. Okay. Right, it's just a simple pulling the value from like an array, just getting the key from there. So okay, so if I do something like this, then I will be able to handle grabbing the value from that and move it into there, but I need to verify that it does actually exist in there. So if board grid contains key pop neighbor, then we do that. Let's see. But if it doesn't, if for some reason it doesn't exist in there, then we need to throw some kind of error, because something happened along the way. I mean, the pop neighbor should be in the board grid somewhere, okay, or the this particular key should be on the board grid, no matter what. So if it's not, then I need to throw some kind of error in here. I'm just going to put down a random value here, or value, and just kind of as a placeholder for now. This needs error code to break Okay, sorry about that, folks. Okay, so it's looking like I got everything pretty much fixed. So, just to kind of reiterate what I'm trying to do here. So, I'm checking to see if the board has, um, it actually has the key on the board grid. Okay, and then we're pulling the value from the dictionary using the key. If for some odd reason um, the board does not have that particular key, then it needs to throw out an error. Okay, there's a problem there somehow. Okay. Um, Matter of fact, I want to do um, let's do a one of the console notifications, just so I can go ahead and um, if there is a major problem there, then major problem about neighbor not found on board grid. Okay. So, um, let's see. Let's go ahead and try to keep this slightly different here, and that we want to um, oh wait, no, what I want to do is do the pop neighbor row column. There we go. So I'm doing it this way so that whenever there's an error found, it will be somewhat different because the location will have changed. So therefore, the debug log will keep them somewhat separate. There might be some double up here and there, maybe, but we'll find out. So, to be honest, we can just kind of remove that. Don't really need that. But, this should not happen. Okay, it shouldn't. But you always want to, whenever you're doing any kind of coding or anything along those lines, you always want to, you want to try to catch all the potential problems, okay? I'm not saying that you will catch all the potential problems, but you want to try to at least make that effort of, hey, there's a problem, we need to catch it and try to resolve it if you can. Now, in this particular instance, I may need to say, let's go back, let's cancel out this game. We'll go back to the main menu, and we'll have it kind of reset or restart or something along those lines, so that you don't have any so that there's isn't any kind of problems with that. But or at least have allow for it to reset, and hope that it doesn't happen again. Maybe it might be one of those one and done kind of situations, like for some unknown reason one particular tile gets removed completely from the board grid, and therefore you might have some kind of error popping up out of it. I don't really know, but I'm just saying, guard for that possibility. So if that one particular tile isn't being found, or is having a problem trying to if there is a problem of tiles not matching up with each other, then this is all for naught. We're really kind of messing up all over the place if that's the case. So hopefully that's not going to be the case, but you never know. Alright, so this should work now. That will get the value for the key. We check the value for if it has a outer wall, or if it is an outer wall. If it isn't, we check to see whether or not the key, which technically I could just use this, seeing that it's going to be the exact same thing. There's no need for me to do a get key when I already have a copy of the key. So we're trying to see whether or not if this key has been found within resource, or hasn't been found, I should say, within resource tile holder, then I know that it's an empty block. Therefore, we found a potential spawn point, and therefore we're going to exit out of the do while loop. Okay. If there is a resource there, then we're going to add the hex tile in to the list, so that if we look through all the neighbors and find that all of them have resources and or are outer walls, then we're going to need to pop one of the two at random out, and then remove said remove the resource from the map, don't want it anymore, and then we'll return the value. So there you go. Okay, so okay, so I think we're good there. Okay. So I think we are good here for now. Let's go ahead and yeah, we're setting those for each. Go. I think we're good here. I don't think we really need anything else here, so don't really need the rest of this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of it. It's just extra code that is unnecessary. Alright. Base model, check for null, verify the X has been set or not. Functions, same for each enemy speech. And if there are all yeah, right. Okay, so I think we're good there. Let's see. Right, right. This is what I need for the enemy cities. That's fine. Now, like I mentioned before, the get spawns points is not the same for the human cities. Okay, human cities is a totally different beast. So that's the reason why I'm keeping it separate. So, and I think for the most part I think I'm done with the spawn points. Now, like I said, I don't know when I might need to do this or not, but I'll leave it there for now. But let's see. Actually, hold on. If I do that, okay, this is just code that was automatically set. So Okay. So I think we're good here. Okay, so now that we have the spawn point code fixed, then what I want to do is I want to try to fix all of the error codes that are here. Clear these out of the way. So as you can kind of see, you know, it changed from the 62 to 25 because I made changes to the code that was having a problem with. So let's go ahead and figure out where the problems are here now. So we can see here that the error lies at 384. Okay, so 384. Okay, so this is so I'm trying to add a hex tile into the human spawn locations, but I take it that I set it up to allow only hex tile keys. Right. Yeah. Hmm. But yet I have um, I have these spawn locations set for hmm. Maybe hmm. So here I can just pretty much get this set to hex tile or hex tile key. Either one is fine. I'm using hex tile here. Let's look down here and verify whether or not I want hex tile key or hex tile. Hmm. I can do either one here. So this isn't that big of a deal, needing hex tile or hex tile key. Same with that. I'm adding in the pop neighbor. Hmm. Right, because the human city neighbors are all hex tile keys too. Right. Pop neighbor, pop neighbor. Hex tile key. Yeah, so Okay, next error is at 10:08, unless this changes, unless this fixes this a little bit more. Let's verify this here real quick. Hmm. It's taking its time. This isn't used at all. Hmm. Instead of this being added here, then we want to use um, hmm. Oh boy. Okay. So here's where you have to kind of be careful about the whole object-oriented language, and um, I guess so. There is. Let's not do that. Okay. So here's the thing. Um, I have to kind of be careful with this because here I am having, the um, setting the human city, and I also have, get the human city. Okay. Um, Now, if one of the, I mean, I could easily add this, or I like it. I've already done. I've already added these multiple times down here, or just the once. No, I added it twice. So, and it's really easy to do this kind of thing, do the add, but um, it kind of breaks the whole style of what object oriented is all about, kind of thing. Um, so instead of a single function call to uh, add a key into, or add the key into the list here. Okay, if I use the function up above here, to set random human spawn, then I'm in a sense doing two function calls in order to do this. Do I do I really need this though? I mean, I'm using this multiple times down below here to check the counts, and it's so easy to just have this here, but it kind of breaks the whole mentality of object oriented. You know, I should be doing, you know, a function call that says, hey, get the spawn count or something along those lines. Okay. If I wanted to kind of keep with the if I want to try to keep portions of an object isolated. And it is its own unique object in a way, so let's see. How much should I use? Should I actually create functions for those? And make those function calls? Or should I just kind of leave it the way I have it? If I make the function calls, then that just, in a sense, adds unnecessary code into it. But I'm trying to maintain the the style of it. If I don't do that, then I'm just basically throwing you know throwing philosophies out the window at this point. No, I should probably maintain it. So public int get human spawn count. So return human spawn locations dot count. Oh. So let's go ahead and copy that. Then we'll use that. Oh. We'll need to get we'll need to change this up too. Okay. So now we want to do this. And modify the ads to include that. So now we want this there to replace that. There we go. Now let's see. Okay, I might need to do the exact same thing with the human city neighbor locations too. Because again, I need to kind of keep it. I need to keep the objects intact. So so let's go ahead and go down here. Okay, so we got we have these. Okay, I'm doing. I have this for later so that I can get the randomization done, but I may need to get the specific value from that, or do I? No, I don't, because I'm already working on these, so I can just go ahead and remove these from now. And now we'll do a random human spawn because I'm already kind of doing it here. Turn that. Okay. Now, now we're pretty much done here. Now let's go ahead and try to fix mistake that I made with the human neighbor locations, because I don't actually have any functions for these down here. So we'll do the exact same thing for the human spawn with the human neighbors. So let's see, do I need to get the randomization for it though? We need count, we need to add, and we need the value. We also need to remove one. Okay. Um, okay, so we're going to copy these for right now. Go up to these functions up here. Um, okay. And, okay, put those there for now. Now we're going to copy this real quick. Get human neighbor count and make sure that there's nothing else out there. There isn't. That's good. Gonna put that there. So now we're good there. Now we want to pop neighbor is the key, right? So, but we're using integer to pull the value out of it. So get next tile key, get human neighbor key, and then return this. And there we go. And now we want to like bool of human neighbor key and value, and then we go view inside here. There's that. We're we're doing the pull to verify that it has been done. I believe the remove at does kind of return a boolean. Let me verify that though. So this is a list if I remember correctly. Yeah, I did make it a list. So let me verify that remove at in a list does return a boolean. So so remove at C# list. Let's see. What do you return at? You don't return anything. Hmm. Okay. Well, here I was thinking that the function here would kind of do the error checking for me a little bit, but apparently not. Okay, well, so this is where things get a little tricky here there, folks. So, the value is greater than or equal to that. Return false. Else. Okay. So a little bit of error checking here. What I'm doing is verifying that the value that I'm trying to remove is indeed a value that is less than the count. Oh, but wait. That doesn't really make any sense, Jim. What are you doing here? Oh, what am I doing? What happens if I pass in 0? Well, no, that should still be fine. Because if I pass in 0, then it means that technically the count should still be at 1 if indeed there is a value in there. So if 0 is greater than or equal to 1, then, you know, then there should be a problem. See, if the count value is 0, meaning that there's nothing in there, and the value that I'm passing in is equal to the count of 0, then there's a problem. It's off. If I do a value of, say, like 5 and the count is at 4, same same difference here. It's going to be larger, so therefore it doesn't really work. You're finding a value that is beyond the capacity of the array, so there's a problem. Now, if I do a value of 4, which technically should give this a count of at least 5 or more, so that should still work there. Yeah, okay. I gotta be careful here because I don't necessarily want negative numbers either. I don't know if Unity actually works with how Unity handles the unsigned. Not sure. Do I even really want to mess with that though? I mean, I just need positive numbers for the list. If it starts going into negative numbers, then there's a problem here. Is it easier for me to just get get a variable that is unsigned, or should I put in a proper test in there to verify that the number is indeed positive? If I Okay, so if I do if I attempt an unsigned, meaning that it's always going to be positive. It's been a while since I've messed with unsigned. Then there's not going to be need to check to see if this value here is indeed negative or not. If I don't, if I keep it with integer, then I need to check. I need to have that test in there. I need to have something. Value is less than 0. Okay. If it's unsigned, I don't necessarily need this check. Okay. So what's an easier way of going about this? Should I even bother? Probably not. This is not a exhaustive check. Now, if I was going through like multiple different functions and the like in order to check to see whether or not it is less than 0 or something along those lines, then maybe I might want to do that. Like if I have this right here in replace of value, then sure, okay, because that's a function call that takes a little bit more, just slightly more processing power. That's it. Then you might want to go with unsigned. But that does kind of raise up the question. So Unity 3D unsigned int. Let's see what you got for me. Okay, so I could, if I really wanted to, use a uint. Yes, no. JavaScript for Unity? That's... Okay. Okay, so this is no longer supported. Okay, understandable there. Why is it top of the list there? Um, okay, I'm gonna have to make the assumption that we're looking at C sharp assignment. So same same data type. Okay. So as you can see, um, being unsigned, it always gives you a positive result. Okay. Um, if I leave it at int, then I have the potential of negative numbers, and I don't. In this case, I don't need negative numbers in it. So what's what's a better what's better for this? um, ooh, hold on here. What does remove at use? Um, let's see. C sharp move at unit. See, I don't know if remove at can use um, the unsigned integer. Hmm. I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me look into this a little bit. Let me see. Okay. No, that's. Oh, Jesus. You freaked me out there, Gabe. Made me jump there a little bit, man. Nice job. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't bother with that too much. So, um, oh, you're. Normally, I like to play. Normally, I like to have the play the music going at the same time, so everybody's not really hearing you. So let me go ahead and unmute you there. So there we go. Okay. So now you can burp to your heart's content. Not really, please don't.
Hopefully, I did not do not have any good ones.
Okay.
Let me
Um,
refill my water bottle real fast so I don't fall asleep.
you're still having some problems with that, huh?
Oh no, I woke up at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. Okay. Getting back on track again, huh? Hmm.
For me to wake up every day, I need to. Oh, I need to have the alarm clock set to wake me up.
Yeah.
Others they'll just sleep straight through it.
Let's see. C, C sharp list. Removing using unsigned. It. Let's see. Um.
Are you just chatting?
No, I'm just looking up some information on Google for my programming session today. So, um, don't really.
What's next? What are you gonna do Monday?
Monday is Warframe. So, must include unsigned.
I'm
Hmm.
gonna. It's gonna take a long time to download.
What Warframe?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an MMO, so it takes a while. But I mean, it's a pretty nice, uh, pretty nice game. So you played it before, or Gabe? All right. Hmm. Let's see. I don't really see
Jim, did I tell you about the gang that I'm planning on making in the future?
the gang.
No, a game, not
Oh,
a
gang.
gang. God,
Yeah,
it's not that messed up.
I was like, wait, what? What are you doing? Oh, okay. A
Did I
game?
tell you about it?
No, you haven't. Let's see. You're what?
Well, I'm planning on if you could teach me how to program like how to make game video games,
Well,
because I want to like where you could stack it like uh, World War II like KV2 turrets, make them more powerful by stacking them. More turrets you stack, the more the weight you have, and the more deadlier.
so kind of like a tower defense.
Yes, you can either make them like a stationary for defense or attack.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, there's quite a different
I'm planning
you know.
on making like two games. One's a tower defense, and the second is a strategy game.
Okay. Have you ever programmed before?
Just the website. That's about it.
Just a website? Okay. Well, I mean, it gives you a little bit of basics, but
But I forgot about all the skills because it's been that long.
I mean, the programming is its own. Um, if you really want to be good with programming, you have to kind of devote a lot of time towards it. So, um,
I'm always interested. How do they make video games? So
well, I mean, feel free to keep on joining me on Sundays, and I mean, if you want to, you can uh, take a look at my YouTube channel. I already have a couple of the tutorials done, but bear in mind, okay, some of the information that I'm passing on there is, for those that are a little bit beyond like the basics for programming. Um, I'm kind of like, I guess you might say like a mid-tier programmer. I know enough to be dangerous, but not enough apparently to get a job. Um,
what? By what dangerous? You're gonna hack into another programmer's game?
Well, I mean, um, if they don't
Oh, like
have the
different.
proper security, then it's always possible to hack into another person's game. Now, do I do that?
Oh,
No.
that was a joke.
I don't hack into other people's games, and even if I did, uh, it doesn't give me any kind of joy or satisfaction from it. Um, so I'd rather kind of build my own and potentially guard against that kind of hacking. But I know that um, if a hacker really wants to break in somewhere, they can try to find a way. So, um, but if you want to learn the basics, then I can try to teach you some of the basics. But um, you're gonna have to take the information that I pass on to you with a grain of salt because I'm not a professor, dude. So um, uh, if I give you some information, then you want to look up that information to verify that I'm conveying it properly to you because um, when when it comes to programming, you have different languages, you have different styles, you have different methods of building different tools differently. So it's much along the lines of it's it's like learning an actual language. Like, hey, I want to learn how to speak Spanish. There's a different style and method of going about doing that. Same kind of thing with when it comes to programming languages. So HTML that you use to build your website is different than JavaScript. That's different than Java. That's different than C Sharp. But yet at the same time, these languages still have an underlying foundation to them. So so it all depends on what you kind of want to build. And seeing that you're thinking about building a game, then you want to look at the languages that people use to build games. Um,
I already have an idea, like what the game is already gonna look like.
right, but you need the right language in order to make sure that that game, comes out properly, kind of thing. It's like, um, do you want to use Unity? Do you want to try to use C++? Do you want to use C Sharp? Um, do you want to use Python? These are all different languages that you could use to build a game. Question is, how do you want it to look? Where do you want it to show up at? I'm using Unity right here because I want to eventually put this out on a, on like an old Flash site, for example, just to kind of garner some interest on it. Um, but at the same time, I want to allow for it to potentially be put on, say, Steam, so that others can download it through the PC, allow for it to be downloaded through a phone app, that kind of stuff. Um, so I'm using Unity to try to help me along with that. Now, I could have used, Python, C Sharp, C++ on their own and not used Unity, but then uh, I would need to work on the graphics side of the code uh, for C++, C Sharp, or, you know, Python in order to get the images that I want shown. So it depends on what you want to do and how fast you want to do it. So um, tower
Okay,
def-
Jim.
tower defense with Unity can be fairly simple. So there's there's some there's some tutorials for them, I'm sure. So
I already know what the. But what do you think of this? Some battleships have like 4 guns at them.
mm-hmm.
Imagine 18 guns.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing that for battleships that you can actually increase that you can have more barrels.
Okay. Well, um, so I would suggest if you want to um, if you want to make this game, first thing that I would do is write down your ideas. Put them down on, like a Word document or something along those lines.
Oh,
Write.
that's like my main priority because the funny part is I actually had a dream about this video game.
Well, write down all your ideas. Okay. I don't necessarily need to hear them right now. Okay, because uh, I'm currently building my own game, so I don't want to have any kind of
Oh Lord,
confusion
I
between the two.
can't wait to play it.
Um, but um, if you want to, I can probably talk with you like after the stream is over, and I can try to give you some more ideas
Tips?
or where to go to start building it yourself if you want. But yeah, write down what you want. Write down what you want to see happen. Like here, let me show you what I mean. So, um, if you're looking on my stream right at the moment, I'm
Oh,
sure. Well,
I just joined,
okay. Um, I'll give
but
you
I'll be.
give you a second to kind of hop on the stream so that you kind of see this a little bit if you want.
1 second. Now I just see if on yours. You're not the only person I followed in a long time.
No worries.
I had like a few, probably like 30 or 40 people.
Understandable. All right.
All
So
right, I found yours.
okay. So once you're there, I mean, there's a little bit of a delay anyway. So I've basically created a text file here because it's easy. Okay. And I'm basically putting down um, the what I want to see in the game. Now, um, I have a simple story because there's not much to the story for this. Okay. I have what I want to do for my game board. What I want the player to see. Okay. How do I want to present the board to the player, or uh, what is the player going to be interacting with? How is the player going to be interacting with it? Um, what objects are they going to be seeing, interacting with, using, so on and so forth. Okay, that's kind of what I did here with the game board. Okay. Um, Next process is what can the player do? Okay. Um, giving the uh, you know are they, and in my case, they're trying to protect the humans in this for my game from being overrun by enemies. Okay, so while uh, it being a real-time strategy, I'm allowing the player to guide its agents around the map, collecting resources and putting up defenses to stop the enemies. Okay, and then of course save and load and so on and so forth, and changing levels, you know other styles that if you're um, you want to give the players the ability to customize or something along those lines, then you want to kind of put it in this section kind of aspect. You want to be able to modify or change. You know, what can the player do? You want to list that out. And list out everything that the player can and can't do. Okay, and list out the ones that they can't do. Okay, that way, um, when you're building the game, you aren't, um, you don't come back to it and go, oh wait, you know, I want to try to do this. Oh wait, no, actually don't want to have that happen because that might be a little too much or something like that. You want to make sure that you have a defined focus, because if you start moving beyond your initial thought line for the game, then you're just adding more and more and more, and the game will never finish. Okay, so you want to try to contain what you want to do first. Okay, you can still like make notes of what you want to maybe do later on. So like maybe you want to do the another like uh, you just designed Battlefront. Now you want to do Battlefront 2. Well, you can add those ideas that you had in before into like Battlefront 2, for example.
Yeah, there was like
Okay.
a LNG bug that where you have explosive shots and you can shred like heroes like in like 2.5 seconds,
Right. So,
and the developers took that out.
right. But it might be a bug, it might be a feature, it might be something a little bit extra
Oh, it
to be.
wasn't a feature.
Yeah, but it's something that you can potentially add for a later game. Okay. Um, and same goes for your stories, your game board. Um, like for example, hey, your story. Well, um, you might have an epic along the lines of Star Wars. 4, 5, and 6, for example. New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Right. Well, creating all three, like much like George Lucas did back then, he knew that he couldn't do all three of those storylines in 1.5 to 2 hours of time. So he split them apart. Okay, so that he could kind of expand on those stories. Same kind of thing. If you want to design a particular game and you have an arc of story that you want to do, then you might need to kind of split it up a little bit. Unless you want to do a full-on RPG, who knows? But same,
No, I don't want to do that. That'll be the least of my worries.
exactly.
Maybe I'll just do that for an April Fool's.
Yeah. Then you want to do, you want to find out what you want to, what your enemies are. Okay, what the point of contention is. What is the player competing against? What is the player struggling against? What is, um,
Okay, my first game, my strategy is gonna be facing up against like other players. My tower defense game, I still don't know what the enemy is gonna be like.
okay. Well, the um, multiplayer is going to be a little bit harder for you because um, not only are you going to have to figure out um, how to get the connection of each player into the game at the same time, okay, but you want to make sure that what one player sees is the exact same thing as what the other player is going to see, okay? You need to basically line up um, the visuals for both players that they're kind of seeing the exact same thing at the same time. Okay, so the multiplayer is going to be a little bit harder for you, seeing that you're going to be this is brand new for you. Okay, you're as a new programmer, hold off on the multiplayer
The
for now.
multiplayer.
Uh,
Should I start making the tower defense?
the tower defense game would be my first choice because um, it's a little it the requirements isn't going to be as much. It's more of a single player kind of a game. So um,
And I don't know what the enemies are gonna be like. I'm thinking that having like light tanks, so because the new player won't have access, have enough money to stack up their tower.
right.
Tower.
So what you want to do is seeing that it's a single player game with incremental increases and the like, then that would be the easier of the two games. Okay, because you're not having to worry about network connections, server connections, um, making sure that the visuals for one player is the same as the visuals for the other player. Okay, um, you want to get the basics down first before
I'm
you add in
on
that, you know,
on the multiplayer. I'm planning on having every single one just on one map.
right,
But later on, I'm thinking on having like
but
where you can like have clans and
but
stuff like that.
but at the same time, the single player will give you the basics for it. Okay, will give you the understanding of how to actually do the programming. Will give you the basics of it before you get into um, the server and multiplayer side of things. Okay, you don't want to take for your very first program, you want to try to keep it simple. Okay, don't think that you're going to be building an MMO right off the bat. Okay, it's not going to happen.
I won't.
Okay, um, start with something small. Tower defense can be small. Okay, as long as you try to keep it that way. Um, small
If
and
it wasn't for Bloons Tower Defense games, I wouldn't have thought of that first.
right. It's same kind of thought line. Okay, just try to keep your focus contained a little bit. Okay, because if you start going, oh, this is tower defense, I'm gonna add in, I'm gonna allow the player to bring in music from this streaming site. I'm gonna allow for Steam community members to kind of join in and spectate. I'm going to, no. Um, the best thing you can do for first time program building something for the very first time is keep it simple. Okay. Um, Asteroids, Pac-Man, um, you know, Minesweeper, Solitaire. These are all simple, fairly established games that, you know, um, you can find multiple examples of, and you're not going to get too overwhelmed by building these small, simple games. Okay. And if I were you, okay, seeing that you've never programmed before, um, there's two things that I would do if I were you. One, start taking some programming tutorial videos or look up online for how to program, the basics. Okay. Um, the you'll need at least a solid foundation for that. Okay. Pick pick any particular language that you want. It doesn't really matter too much, because you're just going to be learning the basics. What is an if statement? What is if else statement? What's a for loop? What's a while loop? You know, I'm saying these, and I don't know whether or not you know what exactly I'm saying. If you don't know, then you might want to start off with those basics to start off with. Okay, learn the basics, and use that as a launch point. Okay, then you want to pick a language that you want to program in to build your tower defense in this case. Now, there are plenty of tutorials out there for how to build a tower defense. Um, you know, you can use Unity, you can use Flash, you can use any of the other languages out there. Um, you know, uh, one has, some have positives over others. So, um, but you're gonna need to figure out what you want to program in. Okay. Um, Doing something using like Unity or Flash or C++. Oh, I mean C++ might be a little bit harder because you're um, you're gonna have to kind of build the graphics and all that, whereas Unity kind of has it kind of pre-programmed in. But do research on that. Okay, find out. Do research on tower defense tutorials. Okay, see what people are teaching those tutorials at, and do those tutorials. Okay, actually type them out and see if you can actually replicate what they're doing, what they're teaching. Okay, if you can replicate that, okay, save it to the side. Okay, because you can kind of you can use that as a like a skeleton key. You can use that as a guideline for your game that you want to build. Okay, um, so that uh, if you're like going, oh my gosh, how did that one guy do it on the tutorial? Well, instead of having to go back to that tutorial trying to find the exact spot, you can go to your code and go, oh, it's right there. Okay, I need to remember how to go about doing that so I can replicate it on my game. Okay. Um, so, and for mine, I have enemies. I have the user interface. I have topics about what I want to do for sound. I have what I want to do for the animations, and um,
I play a lot of World of Tanks,
mhm.
so I'm basing the enemies off of World of Tanks vehicles.
Well, okay. Just be careful. Um, uh, well, I say be careful, but you're not going to be like copying someone else's code and
Oh no.
and pasting it. So it's not like you're going to be um, you're not going to be like going to the world of tanks, copying all their code and going, "Hey, it's now mine." No, you're you know that would be stupid. First off, um,
No kidding.
they could legally come after you if anyone tried that. Um, no, um,
I wonder
but
if they're gonna help me set up like the code because the tanks are gonna be based off of their tanks.
well, they're not going to be able to help you or anything along those lines. But what you could do is get some ideas from it and use it to build your simple game. Okay. Um,
There's like a super or like a bunker. It's like a T-95 tank destroyer, American.
yeah, and even then, you can do your own kind of stats as well. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to follow the same exact. Um,
I already have
y-
an idea for one of the
you know,
bosses.
you don't need to make an exact copy of a particular game. Okay. Like for example, Pac-Man. For example. Okay. Um,
There's even a Mrs. Pac-Man.
I mean, there's Mrs. Pac-Man. You could do different level designs kind of thing. You could put in different elements, like you could have Pac-Man with upgrades or something like that. Like, maybe you want him to do super speed or something along those lines, or maybe you want to, you know, equip him with guns or something. You know, sky sky's the limit. Okay, you don't have to make an exact copy of Pac-Man. Now, I recommend you do an exact copy of Pac-Man per se. Well, not in your particular case. I mean, I would do something like take a tower defense, try to replicate it. You know, if you can make a replication of said tower defense, then you're on the right path. Okay. Um, then take the replication and add on it, modify it, change it, put your own spin to it. Um, Add additional features, add additional sounds or graphics or
Yeah, but I
gameplay
don't think
style.
there's a game that I have in my head that's anything like it.
True, but what I'm
It
what
seems like a one-of-a-kind video game.
what I'm trying to do is um, it's really difficult to get what you want programmed right off the bat. Okay, what I'm trying to help you with is um, use already designed material out there to give you the basics. Okay, um, a little analogy here. Okay, if I told you I want you to go out and build a house from scratch without any help whatsoever, are you going to be able to build me a house? With brick, mortar, timber, drywall, plumbing, electricity, all that?
No.
Point is that sometimes you might need to go and learn a little bit, on how to actually build a house before you can make your own. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying don't build your own, don't build that house. Okay. But you you're gonna need to learn the basics of it first before you jump into it. You know, um, now that being said, you can do a build at in parallel. For example, like, hey, you just learned how to do the foundation of the building. Okay, well, I'll take that and build the foundation of my home. You can do that if you wanted to. You know, um, if you learn something new from the tutorials, use it for your game if you want to. Okay, it's okay to kind of build at the same time if you want to, but don't jump straight into your game thinking that you're gonna make it perfectly fine. Okay, just little bit of advice. don't 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 get discouraged. Obviously, you know, if this is what you want to do, then um, then aim for it. Okay, don't don't lose sight of it. Okay, but at the same time, you're still gonna need to learn the basics in order to get to that point too.
Yeah, and I'm planning on going to like a college where it can teach me the basics of like making my own video game and hopefully joining a company that has its own video game
Okay.
so I can learn how to program on air and stuff.
Okay. Well, first thing you want to do is you want to, if you want to try to do that, okay, game companies are a tough market to get into. Okay, first and foremost. Okay, a lot of um, young adults, they look at the I want to make a video game, but they don't know how to program, so they they struggle with the process, and sometimes the process might not work for you. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that your game can't be built. You need to be ready to enjoy programming. Okay, seeing that you've already built a website, you're already kind of a step ahead of some people that never programmed a day in their life before they even hit college. Okay, so um, what you want to do, if you want to make that into a reality, um, pick up some programming books, you know, C++, C Sharp, Python. Pick up some books, start reading them, um, look up online tutorials on how to program, and start programming. You know, it could be as simple as, you know, I want to put down a debug log, you know, saying hello world. Okay. It could be just as simple as that. Okay. You've just programmed out your very first program. Okay. Um, and believe me, this whole the hello world is going to be typically the very first program that you program in any initial programming course. Okay, that's the very first thing that um, most teachers show you. They tell you you want to use this particular command, you want to put hello world inside of it, you want to compile it, and you want to output it. That's it. Okay. Some people have, some people struggle at that. So if you can start doing that, then you're going to be a step ahead of those um, getting into college for the very first time and trying out the programming languages. Okay. Now, if you don't like programming at all, okay,
Oh no, I really do.
okay, okay. But
Because I'm always interested in like PlayStation 4s. How do they like make them, and how do they read like disc?
yeah, well, what I'm saying is that if someone doesn't like programming, okay, they might not be able to make it themselves, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be built. Okay, you just have to kind of take it. You have to kind of take what you like doing at a different approach. Okay, don't think that um, being a programmer um, is the only requirement to building a game. Okay, you still need sound designers, level designers, um, artists, um, musicians, voice actors. There's so many different things that can be um, put into a
Except that for
game.
one
So
thing, voice actors just make it like some dude that shows up and some text.
yeah, but I'm just reiterating that um, you, voice actor is still building a game. Okay, they might not be um, designing how player pushes a button or anything along those lines, but they're still a part of the build. Okay, so if programming isn't for you, don't go. Oh my God, my game is never gonna be built. No, no, there's different ways of having your game built. So don't be discouraged on that. Now, if you like programming, then start setting up on how to program. Okay. And if you have questions for me, feel free to ask them because I will try to answer them the best I can, or I will try to look up information uh, for you to use. Okay. Any questions?
I mean, while we're talking, I'm playing World of Tanks.
Okay.
While I'm playing World of Tanks while we're talking,
Mm-hmm.
and I was playing my OI, and a light tank just ran across me, tried to get to the other side, and that thing just got denied by my derp. It had like less than 600 hit points, so it's a guaranteed one shot.
Right. Okay.
Just imagine your light tank when you see an OI.
Right.
It's too late.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I need to replace some of these function calls here with my one function call. So we're going to go ahead and leave the um, switch popped is an integer. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And now we don't need that anymore. Okay. And so now we can do the exact same thing there. And we can remove that. Okay. Now we need to get the count for it, which, let's see. Go ahead and replace
Yeah,
these.
since I'm going back to school, I'll be always probably like 15 minutes late to the stream
Oh, that's
because by the time when you start streaming, it'll be around my time for me to leave school.
okay. Let's see. Well, don't rush. Um, don't rush on my account, and don't sacrifice your schooling for helping me out. Okay. So, um,
Hey, I'm not that dumb.
yeah. Well, I'm just putting that out there. Okay. I don't necessarily want you. Um, I want to make
When
sure.
you start streaming,
Yeah.
it'll be for me out of school.
Yeah. Well, I don't want that to happen. So, um, I want you to.
Just started, and I get a notification on my phone. Strange bro, Jim. Phone and it just vibrates during class. My dad and got sent up to the principal's office, and I had to tell him the whole story, how I met how I met you, and yada yada.
Yeah, let's not have that happen.
That would have been extremely funny and extremely awkward at the same time.
Yeah, that it would. That it would. Let's see.
Principal would be like, "So, Gabe, you made a new friend? What's his
Hmm.
name? Address, yada yada yada." Imagine the school just being that strict.
Mm,
Imagine that.
let's see. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and do that.
I always like to pick on my friends just enough.
What's that?
I always like to pick on my friends,
Okay. Reasons?
even when there's. I'm thinking when my friend Lawrence is asleep on my senior year. I'm thinking bringing a band to school and wake him up.
Bringing a band to school? Did I?
Yeah,
Alright.
because he normally sleeps in there, but he's not asleep anymore.
Okay. Let's see.
He's not sleepy, so that plan went to waste.
Let's see. Where is it? Oh, okay. Adding the neighbor. Okay. Let's see. Hmm.
I always
Okay.
wonder how did it get the coding onto like disc. I always
Uh,
wondered.
onto a disc?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, or um, like onto like an Xbox disc or something along those lines.
yeah. Like, do they have like a special machine for that?
Well, okay. Um, well, for one thing, if you wanted to make like a CD or DVD of your own game kind of thing, you can do it using your own computer. Okay, you can when you So here's what's going on. Okay, right at the moment, um, if you're watching my stream here, you'll notice that
I still have it up.
I still have, this is kind of showing 25 here, saying, I have 25 errors currently. This should go down, but don't really know.
Even
Um,
some websites, they have like errors and warnings.
yeah. Okay, um, so here's all these errors and the like, and it's like, okay, yeah, I got rid of that one, so I'm at 24. Okay, so I need to clear all the errors out, okay, in order for this game to run potentially, okay. So once all those errors are cleared out and it can be compiled and it can run, okay. Um, what you can then do is some programs allow you to, um, when I say compile, it means putting all the information, all contained into like one executable. Okay. And then you can take that executable and move it to, um, to a disk, to a website, or so on and so forth. Okay. And therefore, someone can use that executable to just run the game. Okay. Same kind of content. Um, the say like Xbox, okay, they've just finished the game off. Everything runs relatively well. Let's face it, there are some games out there that are still buggy as hell, but um,
No
you
kidding.
know, the if the game has gotten to a point where it is okay enough, or they didn't see said bugs or something along those lines, then they compile it, make it into an executable, okay, and then they copy all those files onto said disk or said cartridge, or it's a storing it's a storing method, okay. The the Xbox disk is similar in nature to say a DVD writable. Okay, you throw a DVD into the rewrite drive, and you can basically burn files onto said DVD. Same kind of process, but for an Xbox or PlayStation or whatnot, obviously they have, um, uh, they try to put in safeguards to try to protect people from getting at said executables to modify them. Okay, they put them as, you know, um, they make sure that nothing gets deleted, modified, changed in any way on those disks. Okay, so at least they try. Some people still have managed to kind of break that, um, but I would not recommend messing with those files. Not unless you are absolutely, um, not unless you're absolutely okay with the potential of you bricking the game. you know, Meaning that if you delete one particular file off if you like put the DVD into your hard drive, rewrite the disk, modifying a file or deleting a file off that disk, then you have the potential of making the executable not work anymore, because it might be looking for said file and go oops, sorry, I can't find said file, so I can't run anymore. Bye bye. You know, so, um, but it's the same kind of idea. They're making it into an executable, a file that can be run, putting it onto a disk that the consoles can see, it can run, and and that's why the game kind of comes up the way it does. So same kind of idea, you know. Matter of fact, if I wanted to, I could, um, once this game is done, then I can compile it and I can upload it to Steam as something that some people can download. Okay, same kind of idea. Um, so it's all about making sure that your code doesn't have any problems, getting it to a satisfying result so that you can um, run the game without too many problems. Let's face it, you're probably going to be seeing some bugs here and there with your game when you get it done. Um, the question is whether or not you're okay with letting those bugs go out into the world. Okay. Um, like for example, I'll give you an example here. I worked for a I worked for a game company for a very brief point in time. Okay. It was like 3 or 4 months. Okay. So not enough time for me to be relatively established there, and then they closed their doors. Long story. Um, but there was one point where I noticed that their senior developers, um, they had 3 senior developers, and each one was doing a separate level at a time. Like, this one was doing level A and 1, this one was doing level 2, this one was doing level 3, and then they switched off to, this one was doing level 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth, right? Well, the programmers um, had their own unique style to the build, so they weren't lining everything up correctly. Okay, so um, one of the problems that they faced was that they wanted to do fireworks at the very end of the level. They were like going, "Yay, you completed the level! Here's some fireworks! Whee!" Kind of thing, right? Problem was because the level designs were done by different programmers, the fireworks weren't being triggered properly for every single level. Now, I didn't find out exactly whose level was which and who was messing up where. That was really no concern of mine. Okay. My concern was whether or not I could get those fireworks to trigger for each and every single level completion. Okay. They triggered for some levels, but not for all of them. So I found out what was missing. I found out that they were basically ending the level before the firework trigger was initiated. Like like um, like someone was like leaving the house before turning off all the lights. Okay, same kind of process. Okay, um, I wanted to find out um, how how to turn off the lights before a person leaves the house each and every single time. Okay, so so I put a little like reminder at the door, you might say, saying, "Hey, did you turn off the lights? You didn't? Well, turn them off." That kind of thing. Um,
You want to know what I just laughed?
what's that?
One of my friends said wheelies unite. My friend is in a tier 2 wheelie, and I'm in a tier 6 version.
Okay.
And he said wheelies unite.
Gotcha. Um,
And that just made me laugh.
yeah. Um, so I designed a little snippet of code that allowed for the fireworks to be triggered for every single level. Okay. And it worked. I tested it out, or at least, you know, I tested it out as much as I could. Okay. I was a small time programmer there, so they kept me busy. Okay. So I got this to work. I gave this to my senior level developers, and they came back to me and said, "We can't, we can't test this out. You know, our QA team is handling other higher level requirements, testing out other bugs. We can't put in your code because it's affecting multiple different levels, and we don't want our QA team going back to said levels to retest to make sure that your code doesn't actually break, any part of the level at all." Okay. So, um, so they released the game out to the public, and um, I actually saw,
Oh god,
and
I
I actually,
regret.
and I actually saw a review from someone that did a review of the game, and they were like, "On, it's kind of weird that the fireworks are launching at this particular level, but it's not launching at this one. What's going on here?" And it's like I could have fixed it. I did fix it, but because they didn't have the time to test it out, they didn't see it, they saw it as flavor, okay? Like sprinkles on ice cream kind of thing, okay? They didn't necessarily need it. Um, it just adds a little bit more to the game. But because they didn't need the fireworks, they didn't need to put the time and effort to make sure that it actually worked properly. So, um, so you know, that's something that you'll have to consider when you're making your own game. Okay. Um, do you did you come up with some kind of idea that might add some sprinkles onto your ice cream, or is it something that you can just take off for now and maybe put on later? Or when you do a second version, you can put those in, that kind of thing. So,
Like the most broken tier 2 in World of Tanks was the T18 because it had 50 millimeters in the front.
okay.
It was very broken.
Mm. Uh, see. Next how key temp. Let's see. neighbor locations. Add temp. Okay. So now let's go ahead and add this down below here. Place this. There we go. Now I'm kind of keeping in style with the object-oriented. So, alright. So that should be it for that. Let me verify that there aren't any additional spots here. So, okay, I believe that's commented out. Yeah, so that's good. And now, human city neighbor locations, that's good. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, so let's see. I think I've gotten to a point where I don't necessarily need to mess around with the spawn locations anymore. At least for now. We're gonna put a to-do here. May not need this particular function. May need to move. Okay. So, so I'm doing this because I'm like, okay, well, I already have a function that gives me the key for where I want to spawn human agent. So, you know, with this particular function right here, so do I need to add any additional code inside here to make sure that like timing wise or whatnot? Now, seeing that this is the board manager, I don't think there's really anything that I need to do concerning like when to spawn an agent. That falls more in lines of what the game manager is going to manage. So I would imagine that I won't really need this function, the spawn human. I think I'm getting that from this already, but I'll leave it for now, because as I progress through this, I may need to come back here. I may need to maybe put some text in there, like saying how maybe there's an enemy right next to the city, and therefore, if there's an enemy agent right next to the city, then yeah, I don't necessarily want to spawn a human right on top of them. You know, like you don't want to have a human go out the city gates and go, ha ha, hi ghouls, how are you doing? Capture me. No, I mean, I don't want the player to be totally upset with along those lines. So, but at the same time, what happens if the city does get surrounded by by monsters.
Holy shit.
Hmm.
That was cool.
You know what would happen if the city does get surrounded by monsters? Am I
The humans would get overrun.
mm, can
Or,
can I
you're
actually
not the only one that way.
can I actually spawn something if the entire city walls are pretty much surrounded by monsters? This is could be potentially a function that tests that out. So we'll see. We'll see what uh, we'll see what needs to be done. But for now, just gonna kind of leave it there. So let's see. Um, got about 30 more minutes left. Spawns are pretty much done. Let's go ahead and um, fix my errors here because let's get it back into a working state here. So 1041. Okay, so pop neighbor hex tile key. Okay, so human city tile. Right. Hmm. I want this one. So there we go. That should fix all those.
So all the eye is like a slow moving boulder.
What is?
Japanese heavy tank.
Ah, yeah. Well,
It's
that
slow, but it like has two engines to move it. That's how freaking heavy that thing is.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and let this kind of reset here. Um, okay, let's go back to the top here. Now you always want to try to go from like a top down when working on errors because uh, fixing one problem at the very top might cascade down. Um, so the problems down below maybe um, maybe a problem with what you did prior or something along those lines. Um, so typically it's a good idea to kind of take it moving on down here. So let's see. Tile map does not contain a definition. Contains key. Oh boy.
What I
Okay.
didn't get, I had like a 28-second reload. That should have been less than a 50-second.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Let's see. So my tile map is um, yeah. What's up, kid? Oh no. I just muted you from the stream. That's all. So yeah, yeah. I fig I fig well no I figure the um if my focus is going to be kind of on coding here, and my audience might be kind of interested in the code, having a side discussion with games might be something that they might not be totally interested in, but that's all. So let's see. Okay, so resource tile holder. Yeah, I have it as the tile map. I need to verify that a particular tile has been set there. Okay, how did I verify those first, though? Okay, so I'm setting these tiles specifically to resource tile holder. Removing them, but I need to figure out whether or not I can get data from it. Hmm. Trying to see if I can. I'm setting it, but so far I don't think I've used anything from these particular tile maps. So they're there, but I haven't really. I haven't gotten to a point where I'm confirming data from these particular tiles. So, let's see. Hmm. So, this might be this might be a little bit harder than what I'm thinking about. Seeing that tile maps don't have, it's not a dictionary, so I gotta remember that it's slightly different here. It's all about uh, the the tiles themselves. So I need to verify that there is indeed something at that specific spot. So I need to kind of change. Um, this isn't gonna work itself, so um, I'm gonna move on real quick. I'm saving this error for last because that has the potential of, well, trying to find a specific tile from the tile map might require a little bit of rework. Um, so we'll see what we can do there. But for the time being, I'm going to move on to the next error, see if I can get that fixed. Okay, so um, hmm, let's see. Let's see if that. Yeah, TV. So, not much I can do about it. No, no, I got, roommate down below is actually kind of watching TV shows, so not much I can really do about it. So, um, it causes a slight problem with copyright sometimes because, I have my mic picks up the soundtrack from down below, or the opening sound, songs of some of these shows, and it's like, you got a copyright strike for this, or copyright claim for this use of the soundtrack. I'm like, well, it's not mine. It's in the background. There's nothing I can do about it. And more often than not, they let it go. But still, something that I have to kind of deal with from time to time. Let's see, switch pop does not exist in the current context. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so what I need to do. Oh, well, there's a problem right there. I would have a unique error right here. All right. So the point that if you didn't really notice, this switched pop equals 0 right inside of the beginning of the do while loop, it would keep on switching switch popped to 0 each and every single time. So it would basically would repeat this over and over and over again. And so we basically would have an infinite loop right there. So, um, yep, yep, good. It is good. So that works now. And should be within the context now, so we should be good there. pop neighbor does not exist, so that's 1136. Right. I don't actually have the it's out of scope here. Let me go ahead and grab the I did a copy and paste and did not bring this along with me here. Okay, so we need that in here as well. There we go. So that should clear out some of these error messages now. So let's go ahead and get that reset. Hey, look at that, 5 errors left. Okay, so next one is 1175. It's nice when you actually have the line numbers. Okay, so what have we got here? Tile map does not have contains key. Same problem that I have with the 1070, so I need to figure out a way to handle that. Okay, so I'll have to leave it for now. 1186. What we got here? Does not contain a definition for length. Okay. Right, it's count. Let's see. Is a method which is not valid in the current context. Okay. Got a funny calendar that tells jokes there, Gabe? Didn't you mention that before? Yeah, either way. Go ahead and... I don't know. Ah, okay. Good old... Good, good old dad jokes. Okay. Yeah, I call it a dad joke. I would call... I would call a giraffe jam a dad joke. Okay. So I have all the errors cleared out except for these two. So now I need to figure out what is necessary to. So these particular two errors, I'm trying to find whether or not there is indeed a tile located at that specific key or the specific coordinates of the x and y to verify that if there is something indeed there, then I can then it's a resource. So therefore, I may need to remove said resource. So I need some kind of verification from the tool map that a the value contained at that specific location is indeed does have tile there. So I need to find something other than what I have here to get the job done. So that requires me to look up tile maps again and see if they actually have something that allows me to look up specific coordinates. So, okay, so manual tile map. Okay. Let's see. I need the code based here, not the. Okay. Let's see. I need the API for the tile map, not just the description of how to actually build said tile maps. But, I'm not finding what I need here. Let's see. Okay, tile map API, Unity. There we go. There we go. Tile map. Okay, so contains tile. Let's go ahead and open up that one because I may need that for later. Let's see. Let's try to get the tile there and see if that. If I'm pulling the X, Y, and Z coordinates, then if it pulls a tile, then that's good. We can do has tile. That could work too. Okay, I'm gonna look into the has tile. Okay, so I need to use a vector 3 int in order to verify the position. So I don't actually have that right away. Same with the get tile and contains tile. Okay, the contains tile will not work for me because it's looking for a specific tile asset. It's like, so let me kind of describe. So let's say for the floor tiles, I have, say the lake tile, the pasture tile, the river tile. It's basically saying, hey, is this particular asset in the particular tile map? That's it. That's all it's gonna say. So great if you're using a single tile, such as like the human city, like that, for example. If you just have one particular tile and you want to search for whether or not that human tile has actually been placed, then that's the code that you want. But you shouldn't necessarily need that. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I don't want to get the tile directly. I want to just see if it has the tile. So I need to change my script to include the has tile on here. Now we're going to copy this code here real quick because I want to kind of reuse it a little bit. But pop neighbor is not a vector 3 int position. So let's see what I want to do. I need to... My X and Y positions are going to be slightly different, so let's go ahead and get the shift tiles. Um, okay, so I don't want to set tile parent there. Okay, so let's see. Um, okay. Okay. There we go. So instead of pop neighbor, I want to do... Let's see. I'll change this up here a little bit. New. Um, let's see. Factor 3 int. Let's see. Now we do pop neighbor. But in this case, I want to do row and column. But I want to see whether I want to do the shifting, because that's gonna make a difference here. Is I am shifting the tiles around to make them work with the set triangle. So let's see, doing that, shift tiles. There we go. And now comment that out. Bring it down so that's a little bit more visible there. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I have the tile map. I'm checking to see whether or not it has a specific tile. I'm using a call for just building a new vector 3 int, to as a temporary. I don't necessarily need to keep it, so therefore I'm just doing it once, putting the shift tiles in there so that it knows the exact position of what I'm looking for, seeing that I am moving the tiles around accordingly, using the row and the column for these. I think I could be wrong on this. I might not need shift tiles, but just in case, I'll put that in there for now. Let me go ahead and make a copy of this. I don't need this line of code anymore. I'll remove this section here. There we go. So now, so we're going to use this line of code for first off and see if it actually works properly. If not, then I know that I need to modify the shift tiles. Obviously, I'm gonna need to run the game and verify that the um, placements for these specific spawn points are indeed on the tiles in question. So we'll see what happens. So, um, I have a funny feeling that the shift tiles here is going to go ahead and break the game, but we'll find out. I'm about ready to end it, but I do want to copy these lines of code again, and then we'll I'm doing this check in another location right here. So I want to replace this with that. So now we should, if everything is set up correctly, having some working code here. So let's see if we're going to have any additional errors on this. Ah, the ref keyword, right. Ref, and then ref and ref. There we go. Try this again. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Oh, okay, this isn't working out as well as I wanted it to. Shifting the tiles and shifting each one individually, so um, hmm, let's see. So what I want to do is, let's see, int temp. I don't necessarily, I want to be careful that I don't modify the stored value of pop neighbor unless I absolutely have to. Um, so column temp. Let's see, we'll do temp, and then column temp. Oh, temp. So there's that. Now we put in these. I'm gonna have to hold off there, Gabe. I need to. I want to focus on this real quick first before so I don't get distracted. I gotta finish off the stream here real quick. So hold on 1 second. Okay, there's the 0 for the last key for the vector int. So that should be good. Okay. Okay, so we got that. Okay, let's go up and fix this. And then we want to fix main portion of the code here. And then there. That should be good. Did it work? Close that out. Let it reset. That's. Ooh. Okay. We're looking pretty good here, I guess. Hey! There we go. No more errors. So if I do the start at the map, then there we go. Okay. Now, we got some issues to resolve next week. So, good to know. But we know that um, we got it to a point where we can recompile it and we can run it again. So now we got a little bit of work to do here, but I'll have to save that for next time. So Gabe, hey, if you want to, you want to check out the map that I have. This is the large map, or the one of the last levels of the that a player is going to have to compete in. I set it up so that here you have 3 different enemies and the human player in the center, and this is the map that they're going to be kind of fighting on. So, or at least, this is a rough draft of it, at least. So, all right. So that is going to be that. Gonna have to close everything out for now, but got it back to a relatively working state. Like I said, there's obviously with it saying major problem, uh, there there's something that I'm going to need to work on um, next week, but um, I know kind of what to look for on that. Um, so we'll figure out what the problem is with the pop neighbor, and then we'll figure out the uh, we'll see uh, if the spawn points are indeed being set, and if if there's maybe some way that I can maybe visually place them, maybe I'll like create a tile that I'll just set in place for the spawn points just to kind of have a visual representation of it on a temporary basis. I don't necessarily need them there, but maybe I'll on under resources. Well, no, I can't put them under resources. Maybe I'll use like the human prefab here. I'll just kind of create some kind of tile asset or something along those lines, much like how I have the resources here. And when I have it set for a specific spawn point, I'll set the resource accordingly, just so I can visually see that the spawn points are indeed being placed in the right locations. But that's gonna need to wait until next week. So, so for now, this is me saying, that, yeah, I need to close everything down there, folks. So, these videos will be posted to my YouTube channel, so feel free to check those out. I have a link to my YouTube channel down below, on my Twitch channel. I also have links to my Discord, my Patreon, and my Twitter account down below on my Twitch channel, as well as in the description of my YouTube videos. If any of that interests you, then check those out if you want. Tomorrow I'll be continuing the game of Warframe. Still working on building up some resources for the railjack. Still got a long ways to go on that. So I got some mutagen masses to find and use to build the AI in order to even get started on the construction of said railjack. So much to do. But it is getting closer on that. Now, we'll see what needs to be done there. So that's going to be Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday will be my World of Warships gameplay. So if any of that interests you, then feel free to stop on by. I do this daily from 2 to 6. So check those out if you're willing and able. Until then, yeah, that's going to be it for me there, folks. So thank you very much for stopping on by. Appreciate it. Gabe, thanks for stopping on by. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Let's see. And that's it. Oh, almost forgot. I put up a new poll. Half-Life 2 is coming to a close pretty soon. I'm pretty sure that I'm probably going to finish off episode 2 and Lost Coast on probably this Friday, if not Saturday. So with that being said, I put up a new poll on my Twitter account. It's pinned to the top of my profile, so it's easy to find. And I have 4 games that I have listed there that I will replace Half-Life 2 with. I believe all 4 of those games I have not played before, so they will all be blind gameplay playthroughs. So if any one of those in my poll interests you, then all you have to do is vote. Or if you want to, go to my Discord and put what you want to see on my Discord as a potential game. If I have it and it's a story-based game, then I'll see about I'll see about playing it, or I'll put it on the list for potential games in the future. So, but until then, uh, I need to say good night there, folks. Take care, and I'll see you strangers hopefully tomorrow.